Round one, fight!
What is going on, BW Sports One World? It is your boy DaLion, and we are here for another Friday night of Combat Zone. That is right, folks. It's Combat Zone, brought to you by our family at Rockstar Realty, 317-503-8322. Buying or selling a home? Talk to Shawn at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322. Also, our friends over at Driving for Dyslexia. If you're in for looking for a good charity fundraising company, non-for-profit company to help out, this is absolutely awesome. They help with teachers and help with resources of kids with dyslexia, trying to help them out. Give them a call, 317-643-1105. And again, if you want to look at this elite body right here, you check out Elite Performance, 765-499-1005. I will have to mention that there is a little contest going on over at Elite Performance. Check out the Facebook page and the Instagram. They just posted it this morning. Hope you check it out and like it, because I sure as hell like it and don't, and you'll see why when you read it. Also, our friends at Aries Academy and Aries Sports Vision Training, talking about fighting. You want to be able to see those punches, those kicks, and everything else coming at you quicker and be able to react quicker. This is where you go. Aries Academy is where you get your eyes working better. 317-537-7433. Tonight we have a co-host special. That's right. None other than bare knuckle fighting champion's own John Lee Chalbeck. What is happening, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for having me on again.
Oh, no problem. I am fine and dandy, just about 5 hours south of you. And we have a lot of snow down here. I'm sure you're used to that up there, but we are not used to getting dumped on about a foot in a day. But, you know, that's what brings the wonderful world to us, and we get to see the beautiful white stuff, right?
I mean, if it's gonna be really cold, there might as well be snow on the ground. It really bothers me when it's like -20 and there's no snow.
I agree with you there. I'd rather see snow than rain when it's cold any day.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you made your debut in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship about, 3 weeks ago now? And let's hear about, you went into, you started, let me start back. You debuted on the biggest card in the history of BKFC, Knucklemania 2021, and it was Super Bowl weekend. You guys were all in around the same area as the Super Bowl. The whole weekend was rocking down there in Tampa area. Talk to me about, you've had several fights before, in boxing. Making this transition, we talked about in the previous interview that we had, you made this transition. Now, how does it feel going through that first fight in bare knuckle? How did it feel being on the biggest fight card in the history? And we'll talk about the match, but just at first, let's talk about, the walking into the whole weekend. Let's start at press day, and we'll work our way through the weekend.
Well, I thought I thought all the fighters would be part of like the presser, but then I found out they only needed like the featured fight in the co-main and stuff, so I didn't have to go to Clearwater. So I mean, so there was a little bit of confusion with some of the itinerary and stuff like that, but I just took everything in stride. In the end, I know that the only thing that really matters to me is the result of the fight.
Right.
And all the hard work that I put into it. and to showcase my skills in front of the world finally. And so that's what I mainly just focused on. Well, I brought my family with me and all four of my kids, so that they could be on vacation, enjoy Florida, because we haven't been on vacation in 4 years, and I just was disciplined. I let them eat what they wanted. I ate my protein shakes and my things, that I had to eat. And, I had to do my running still and make sure my weight was good. And it was the easiest weight cut to 145 easy. And I think the contract was 146, and we both came in at 144.5 and 144.7. So I was only 0.02 pounds bigger than that guy, or 0.2 pounds bigger than that guy. And I looked much bigger, so
Hmm.
I think 145 is, I'm really dialed in there now, at that weight class. And the experience was incredible from, my expectations, which I always like, prepare for the worst and hope for the best and
Hmm.
everything. Um, but yeah, I mean, they did everything that they said they were going to do. And, it was, I never let myself, think the moment was too big. I always thought I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And, it's almost time, so that's all I kept thinking every day, is that I'm here where I'm supposed to be. Every choice I ever made in my life has brought me to this opportunity. And it's almost time to seize the moment, which is what really matters. That's why I don't get into the back and forth talking shit. In the end, the result of the fight is what, really is going to matter to everyone.
That's very
That's
true.
that's what
And
they're going to remember.
exactly, they're going to remember the end result. And
Right.
kind of talking back about the shit talking that you mentioned, that some people just have to do that to get themselves hyped up. You, on the other hand, go the opposite route, and you just keep going, staying with your flow, keeping your own momentum, and you let it just show out there in the ring, which you did. Congratulations on getting that first win in your debut fight for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and you did it in style. Now, let me talk about a little bit of how those. And obviously, you've trained Bare Knuckle before the fight, but how did it feel in there first fight, in the first time he touched you? It's like, okay.
I'll be honest. I didn't feel one punch that he landed on me, like, at all. Like, I didn't feel one punch. Now, you'll hear guys always talk about how they had some sort of adrenaline dump or
Hmm.
something. And one of the things I try to do, fighting as relaxed and calm as possible, is you automatically have the adrenaline there to mask your pain from the punches, but you want to suppress it as much as possible, and then you hold on to it and you don't feel the punches for even longer, and you don't have the adrenaline dump, because you definitely don't need adrenaline to finish someone. You just need accuracy and precision. So what I really try to do is stay calm, stay collective, and just do what I always do in the gym every day. I'm at the gym every day from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. with my breaks, which I come home, to see my family real fast, or eat dinner or spend a little bit of time with them in between classes or clients. But I mean, I'm training all day long. I'm seeing all these movements every day. Like, nothing he did surprised me. No punch I felt. The only punch I felt was the one that went into my eye. You'll see at the end of the first round, I'm rubbing my eye and a knuckle went into my eye, and I was literally blind for a
Hmm.
second in that eye. And you'll see me looking around as my corner's telling me, stay cool, stay calm, just stay loose and stay fast. I think that's what he said. And I'm literally listening to him, but I'm trying to get my eyesight back. Now, I always preach to my students, focus on positivity all the time, even in the fight. And so after that first round, I knew I had hurt him bad. I knew I had knocked him down, so I'm winning 10-8.
Hmm.
And I knew I had both my fists. I'm still dangerous, and I still got my one good eye. So that's what I focused on. And I didn't even let the negativity of my blind eye bother me. By the time I got back to the line, I wasn't blind in my right eye anymore. I was seeing double, so it was already starting to give me more encouragement, in that level of what was going on with my eye. The fight after me, some dude got hit in the eye, And the first thing he says is like, I can't see, and they stop the fight. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, that's what they're gonna do. Like, that's just a way out. Like I would act like I could if they were like, how many fingers holding up, I would try to guess. Like, I'm never ever gonna try to get out of a fight ever, you know. And I think that's the difference between real fighters and fighters that just want to be like Instagram fighters, or get that clout or whatever, is that I'm willing to die in there. And those guys deserve more chances because they'll put on more exciting fights until the end, fights until faces are broken, until people lose their eyesight because they don't fucking give up.
Mm-hmm. That's true, and it is different in bare knuckle because taking a knuckle to the eye is a legal punch. It's different than taking a finger gouge to the eye, but that knuckle meets that eye, and automatically, you see who deserves to be there and wants to be there and who doesn't when that happens. Just like you said, you're not going to sit there and say, I can't see, because yelling that is telling the judges, the ref, and everybody out there that you're done. And it is what it is. You, on the other hand, are not that type of fighter. We've seen it. Now, you mentioned, putting them down to the canvas in the first round. You had the 10-8. How did you think, or not how did you think, how did you feel going into that second round? Were you trying to kind of finish him off? Because we all know it lasted into the third round, but being in a boxer mentality, and this is just my opinion, you're looking again for precision and accuracy, and it doesn't necessarily matter when you finish it as long as you finish on top.
Yeah, my philosophy is, force nothing and just take everything. You know what I mean? So I'm never looking for one thing. I'm never looking for the finish. I'll just try to keep landing punches until either I've won every exchange or every, sequence of punches, or until I've won the round, or until I've won the fight. So I'm really just, focused on winning every second. I'm not really ever looking for the knockout. The knockout usually comes because I'm not looking for it and I'm just taking openings. Um, also, with that being said, I'm ready for, some big name fighters, like I'd like to show what I'm worth. And, a lot of people will say, I haven't, really fought any stiff competition or anything like that. But I've done what I'm supposed to do with, any of the guys that I fought, and I make it look fun in there, so they need to give me some stiff competition, and let me show them that I'm ready to step up. And, yeah, I'm ready. I definitely love bare knuckle more than any other combat sport I've ever done. I've done boxing, I've done MMA, and I'm the boxing coach at Scorpion Fighting Systems, which is a very great MMA gym. And yeah, like bare knuckle, the way it felt was like so satisfying. Like for me, now I didn't feel one punch, and I know that Greg probably can't say the same thing because I was super accurate and I broke bones in his face, so he probably didn't have the same experience as me, but at the same time, when I punched him and the knuckle went into his face, it was nothing like I've ever like felt before, because when you fight in the street, you're like your wrist isn't very supported.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, your wrist bends or punches aren't that great and you don't feel that secure. But with the way BKFC does it, with the knuckle just being exposed, but everything else super wrapped, I was like, in 10 seconds, I knew it was game over. Like, soon as I threw the first couple punches, I was like, this isn't just game over for Greg. This is game over for most of these guys I've seen.
Well, let's talk about it. So you got your first win in, not I'm not taking anything away from him, but it did look like that you were just at least a level up on him the whole time. What's in the future for Jon Chalbeck in the 145-pound division in bare knuckle fighting? Who are you looking at? Obviously, it matters, who they see is up next for you, but who would you like to see them put across that line from you?
Well, I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. I know that they're probably going to do a 145 tournament, and I think that I've at least done enough to like place myself in that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I plan on being the winner of that if that's what they're gonna do. But if they wanted to, if I could choose anyone right now, obviously it would be the cash cow of, you know, Mr. McGregor, but that's the lottery. That's the lottery right now. Like Floyd used to be the lottery in boxing, now Connor's a much easier fight, and he's, you'll get just as much money, so, that's that would be my first choice, and then probably that crybaby Paulie, who I do think is a really great boxer, and he's done a lot for the sport. But just like seeing some of the interviews with like him and Connor and the Artem thing, and I don't know, like I would really like to fight him. Plus, that'd be the most efficient fight for me, because I would get the most money out of probably any of the other BKFC opponents right now. Because he is a former world champion, and he's the real deal. So I don't think that he could hurt me bare knuckle, and I would just walk through him, but be way more efficient than Artem was. And then it would have to be Artem, you know what I mean? Because that's Connor's best friend, and if you make him look bad, then maybe you can call out choice number one and get him enticed. Who knows? But Jason Knight messaged me, and he said that he's trying to focus on getting back into the UFC. So I'm not making any memes of him. I got a lot of respect for him, and I would like that fight too. Because that was probably be the third fight where you'd get a good amount of money. But he's tougher than Artem and Paulie, in my opinion. And then you've got the British guy Tyler Goodjohn, who we've blocked each other on social media because we don't even want to deal with each other. You know what I mean? But I tried to keep it classy at first, but he said that I wouldn't even be able to wouldn't even be able to get through a bare knuckle fight because I was just a glove boxer, and he didn't even know me. So what I think he does is he underestimates almost every opponent, just like he did against Felony. You know what I mean? And yeah, now I'm in the BKFC. I made my dreams a reality again. Pretty much like I do with everything, except I'm not a millionaire yet. So we could all keep dreaming. And yeah, I would like, those are probably the five. That's my top five list that I sent to my manager in that order, just so you know. So it's Connor, Paulie, Artem, Jason, and that porn dork.
And I'm laughing because I've seen some of the memes you've put out, and I am enjoying every bit of it. This is all. I mean, it's fun to me to watch. Yes, there is animosity sometimes with certain people. Yes, there is, just conflicts within the fighting industry. But what you do is make it fun. Regardless, regardless if it's a full out blast towards somebody or just having a little poking fun with them, you're making it fun. And that's what I like as a fan watching. And I'm sure that's what everybody else is. And that's why people hit that IG, that Instagram follow on you to see what you're going to put out next. Now, speaking of Mr. Good John across the pond, he was on BKFC's podcast yesterday. I don't know.
I was on there in the comments. If you look in the comments, you'll see all my shit. I was like trying to get them to respond and trying to get him to like talk on there, but they weren't really paying attention to me because I think they have their own plans. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, he was talking about Luis at 155, and maybe he's focused on that. And I'll be honest, I want to be dialed in at 145. I really feel like a machine here, and that I'll just be a force to reckon with. But obviously, I'm going to go where the money is, But I think Tyler Goodjohn's a real fighter. I just think the way he does it is classless. You know what I mean? And he doesn't really do much for martial arts, which I'm a true martial artist. I live the martial arts lifestyle, so it's not just boxing, it's MMA, it's, everything I do. Of course, I'm a boxer for 26 years, but these guys who I coach at Scorpion Fighting Systems really made me more of a true martial artist. So it's all about respect and honor. And trust me, if I'm sitting next to him, I'm going to be like, man, you're the real deal. You know what I mean? But for you to sit there and say that I would never be able to get through a bare knuckle fight shows you're not very educated, because I will never get tired in 12 minutes. And I can guarantee you I'll never stop punching because I hurt my knuckle.
Yeah. Well, I did see the pictures that you put your hands out there. I think it was a couple of days after the fight, not broken, a little swollen, as I think anybody's hands are after they go through a battle like that. But, you work it out. And again, that's just that fun stuff that we as fans out here watch from people like you on Instagram and Facebook and social media like that. It's the following of the journey. It's not necessarily poking fun all the time or throwing a not a disrespectful but a shot at somebody. You're showing us the journey, and that's what I like about you, John. I like following people's journeys on their quest to turn those dreams into reality. Like you said, you've boxed for several years. It's not like it's not like you're an amateur or a rookie to the fight scene by any means. So the difference in the boxing and the bare knuckle has shown, and you've evolved, and you are ready to stay in bare knuckle fighting. And I cannot wait to watch you again. Speaking of again, now I know that we've mentioned potential opponents. Do you have any inclination of when the next fight will be? Are we looking at April?
Well, I was telling them that I would be ready for April, and I've been pushing for that because I know it's in Miami, and I'd really like to be in Florida as much as possible. Not only do I want to be in Florida, but also I kind of like that sleeve that they put on in Florida. I'm not gonna lie, like that. I think that can make the fights a little bit more entertaining on the inside, because you can block the top of your hand a little bit more. Um, and the weight distribution of it just felt like amazing. So I'm gonna try to stick to Florida, as much as possible. But they were saying something about May, and so if it's May, wherever May is, I guess we'll have to go there. You know what I mean? But they know I want to be in Florida as much as possible.
Now, how many times, John, do you think that you would be able and willing to fight in a year? How many fights do you think you can put in a year?
I think 4 of bare knuckle, if it depending obviously the factors of like certain injuries and things, but I think 4 max would probably be, a healthy busy year. I mean, the UFC fighters are usually getting 3 or 4 a year. You know what I mean? And if you could do 4 bare knuckle fights in a year, and let's say all those went to the decision, you would throw hundreds, 100 bare knuckle punches that landed in every one, man. That's like 500 punches to the skull you landed that year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, bare knuckle. And you saw my swelling was on the perfect on my 2 big knuckles on each side of my hands. You see some of these guys, even Dat's hand, his complete hand was like swollen from, so my accuracy is there. I'm not saying he's not accurate. I'm just saying that, my punches are very accurate. I really listen to Chris Lytle, every single bare knuckle fight that he ever called. He's kind of coaching and
Mm-hmm.
teaching everyone how to do bare knuckle. So I kind of really put myself through bare knuckle school with him and listening to my friend Josh, Tom Schoaf, and guys like that who have done it. Since I coached myself and I taught myself how to box, I'm not closed-minded or like one single-minded or even like a follower of any theories. I'm a complete sponge. I take in everything, and I think that's really helped me be open to always learning and doing new things, from going from boxing to MMA, to now bare knuckle, and having success in all 3.
Well, we love watching you succeed, John, and I know I sure do, and I can't wait to continue following that journey. Now, on to another different topic. A few weeks ago, the UFC or the USDA came out and said, their stance on THC and marijuana and the testing sites. Now, I'm not too 100% sure as far as the testing differences in boxing MMA and, bare knuckle. You might be able to insight me as my wonderful co-host tonight. Kind of fill me in on the difference of the testing protocols, I guess, in all three different, or in at least boxing and bare knuckle. What's the differences? Are they similar? Are there differences? And then I would like to hear your stance on the USDA's approval of using marijuana.
Well, I can tell you that every state commission is different,
Right.
so it all goes by the state commission, For example, when and this can go to everything, I mean, each state will have a different way they'll even match fights, like Las Vegas was the only place they were ever going to let 49-0 fight a debut, Conor McGregor and Floyd. Michigan would have never let that happen. I mean, we've
Right.
had fights turned down where the guy was like 4-10 and the other guy was like, 10-2. You know what I mean? They're like, oh no, you need it closer. You know what I mean? But they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna let something like that go down. Of course, it's for money. So every commission is different. If as far as Michigan goes, they usually go random. They do a mouse swab right after the fight. So two fights, on the card will just be a random mouse swab. And in Michigan, they're not like doing stuff for steroids and stuff. What they were doing is most guys would get in trouble for, smoking weed or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they would get popped for that. That's like the most. I went to a lot of the commission meetings, and that was literally mostly what they did there was talk about what they were going to do about fighters that failed the fucking, marijuana test, which was stupid because these guys put their life on the line. There would have been no show without these guys. You know what I mean? Now, I know what they're saying. I know what they're saying. When they had this, they're just trying to follow protocol. But I'm really happy that a lot of these commissions and especially what'd you say what the big one was, the USADA.
The USDA, the United States Drug
Yeah, the one
Administration.
that the UFC uses. Yeah, so I'm glad that they don't show for that anymore because that literally has nothing to do with enhancing a fighter. They need to be focused on steroids and and not how people deal with their depression, or how they focus on their off time, when they're not training. That has nothing. If they were drinking a drink, it would be completely illegal. It would be completely legal and it wouldn't be tested for and they could go get in a car and kill someone, you know what I mean? They're just waiting for someone to do that. So I don't agree with the hypocrisy. I'm glad the eyes are starting to get opened. I feel like they need to do that with a lot of things and just, have more of a, regulation and how, they help people deal with drugs, and not be arresting people or kicking people out for doing drugs.
Well,
And I kind of have a Joe Rogan philosophy to it, like, he's like make all drugs legal and but I think that that there's like they started to legalize mushrooms in one city or something like that.
I think
And
Oregon. Well, I think
Oregon
Oregon
or something like
has
that.
completely decriminalized a lot of things. Now, I have heard that mushrooms are on a come up, I should say, as far as the psychological effects, benefits of it.
Right, right. So, I mean, I just think it should be like that. They're going to have regulation with it instead of throwing people in jail. They can create revenue and they can regulate it and it could be safer and there'll be less deaths. They could pretty much do that with every drug. I think it's all logistics and, politics and agenda and, big pharma and all sorts of things that we could just go on forever that we don't want to talk about. But, I'm glad they're getting their head out of their ass with that. I mean, Nick Diaz couldn't fight for so long for what? I mean,
Right.
the guy runs ultra marathons, you know what I mean? He's one of the most conditioned athletes in the world, and he'll swim to Alcatraz and then back, and there's great white sharks in there. Man, let the guy fight.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing one bit with you. I think, On the stance of THC and marijuana, I do not understand why it was actually ever regulated at all as far as being illegal, especially for athletes, because it's not an enhancing drug, in my opinion. Now, I have talked to a couple people that do say there are some certain enhancements, but I don't know if it's. I mean, if you get, let's face it, if you're completely stoned out of your mind in a fight, you're probably not going to be reacting as quick. So you might get injured, and maybe that's where the regulations need to come. As far as what levels are in the body. Are they stoned right then and there? Because I could see that being a potential liability if somebody's just ripped out of their mind in a fight, and you notice it because you see a sluggishness and all that. Now, that's not everybody either. A lot of people that I've seen, like you said, Nick Diaz, he probably smokes a big blunt and then runs that marathon. It's just it just depends on how people's body react to it. And again, I am for the legalization of marijuana, especially taking it off of the drug restrictions as far as fighters in this instance, NFL players. I don't see it being an enhancement during the fight or during the game. I could see it more being an enhancement for recovery, and that's something that should not be regulated as far as recovery, because I would rather somebody go smoke a joint than take 50 million pills for 30 days. That's tearing up their body 10 times worse than marijuana is.
Right. I mean, to me, I would compare it to like drinking water or drinking Coke. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be healthy with your choice and take a more natural approach and, refuel your body and hydrate the right way? Or are you going to stick a bunch of like stuff that's like poison in your body that was, put together by, rich people, that just want to make more money? And, I would say drink the water, smoke the joint.
Hence why Indiana will be the last state to legalize marijuana, because we do have a huge pharma facility in Indianapolis. I will not mention the name. It is what it is. But let's get our heads out of the ass and let's start making some money for the state.
They'll send an assassin to your house.
Yeah. I'm watching over my shoulders, man. So we're going to move into being my wonderful co-host this evening. I love it because we could talk about more than just your fight, because everybody knows, like I said, we love to follow your journey, but we want to hear what's your stance on some other things. So tomorrow night, you got the UFC fight card coming, ESPN Plus. The main event is what I really want to talk about. Now, before I go there, I did notice on the prelims that Andrei Arlovsky is on there. I have always been a fan of Arlovsky. Pitbull is awesome, but I'm to the point now. It's like, you know what, Andrei, I know your heart's in it, but let's face it, your chin is not made like it used to be. And I think that this may be his farewell party. What do you think on that?
Well, I'm sorry, I haven't looked at the fight card completely.
Right.
Who is he fighting?
You know what? Let's see. I'm gonna pull it up right now because I forgot his name. It is.
I mean, just to talk about Andre, I've always liked that guy too, but he has been knocked out way early in his career too. Even by like Tim Sylvia and like So I think his chin's always been one of his weaker things, and it's always been like the question mark: is he going to come and catch you first, or are you going to catch him? And as you get older and you've been caught more times, your chin does deteriorate. So
Chuck Liddell.
You want to you want to try to avoid punches as much as possible as you get older. As you've seen, with my boxing and my fight, I tried to avoid a lot of punches instead of just walking through them, which was like my usual style growing up, is just walking through, getting the inside and put the Jake LaMotta on them. But, as I've gotten more crafty, I try to put more of the Sugar Ray Robinson on him, and then I combine those two guys to become, the best, part of, fighters myself that I can be.
Right.
I think Andre will probably, I don't, like I said, I don't know who he's fighting,
Well,
so I'm sure he's gonna.
he's fighting Tom Espinal, and I don't know much about him, honestly. And let me correct myself. It is the first fight on the main card. So we're opening up 8 p.m. main card with Andre Arlovsky. And again, I just think it's time.
I just hope the older guy wins because I'm 38.
Hey, you and I share that same age, man. I love seeing us knocking on the door at 40, still doing stuff out there, man.
I mean,
So,
look at the whole division of the 135 division and all the bigger names. As you had Bedford, he's 38. Dak
yep.
Wynn, 38. I'm 38. At 145, Paulie's 38. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a lot of close to 40s. Really, making some moves. So. I like seeing those older guys, be successful, like Yoel Romero. I always tell myself, like, I want to, like Tyson, like this is how we want to be as we get older. And, your glory days aren't behind you if you don't let them be.
That's true. That's true. All right, we'll talk about the main event right now. So you got Curtis Blades going up against Derek Lewis. Two big boys. And we all seen that Derek Lewis has hands, but we've also seen Curtis Blades can throw them too. And there is a major gap in the odds here, which kind of throws me off a little bit. You got Curtis Blades as a powerhouse, favorite at minus 400 to Derek
Oh
Lewis
my God.
plus 300. I know. I'm just seeing this part. And it's like, wow. What am I missing?
I just found out about what these odds meant with my BKFC fight because I was a minus 300 favorite, and that made some of my friends who were going to bet a lot of money not even bet. I was like, oh geez, but yeah, so that's pretty crazy that he's that much of a favorite. I think they're really banking on his wrestling. Then the odds makers are really banking on him to make it a wrestling match and beat him on the ground or use his speed to beat him. I think Derek Lewis, his real way to win the fight is to, hit him with big shots and finish him like he usually does. He hits someone, hurts him, gets on top of him, and finishes him. So yeah, I think it'll be either Derek catches him early, or he gets tired and catches him late. I'm going with Derek Lewis.
All right, there you go. Early, late, what are you thinking? What round? 5-round fight. What are you thinking?
I'd like to see it late, like that Volkov fight, man. I mean, I had Lewis out the whole time, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was over. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was a great one. But yeah, I think Blades is he's a wrestler, and I'm not really into wrestlers. You know what I mean? I make fun of the wrestlers at my gym all day, and they make fun of me. You know what I mean? So, I'm going with Lewis.
Okay. Well, I mean, looking at the stats here, significant strikes.
You're freezing
averages.
up. You're freezing up on me.
You good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're freezing up. You're freezing up on me. I can hear you statically.
Okay. Well, going off the significant strikes, they're pretty much even. Looking at like you said, the grappling, Blades does have a little bit of a advantage, I should say. But Derek Lewis is pretty good at the takedown defense. So if Blades can get him down to the ground, it might be a little difficult. But I'm going to go with you and put my money on Derek Lewis as well. So, well, folks, that has been Combat Zone tonight, February 19th. Getting ready to hear a little bit of what's coming up with Lee Chalbeck in the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. We do know that there is a 145-pound tournament talked about and discussed, and let's see what happens on that. John, I'm sorry. I think I lost. Nope, there he is. Sorry, I lost you for a second. Are we good?
You're better now, but yeah, I'm starting to steadily lose you. With
Okay.
you're getting frozen and you're breaking up in my thing. So I'm not sure
Right.
if what's going on, but yeah, you're starting to get lost.
Okay. Well, I apologize for the technical difficulties, but John, thank you for coming on with us tonight, being my co-host. Who do you got a shout out to while we got the floor is yours, sir?
Um, I just want to keep giving Dave Feldman a shout out for giving me the opportunity. I mean, I bugged the fuck out of that guy for 2 years. I went to a tryout and I even got mad at him a few times online and, went back and forth. And I had like some of my people who are my supporters were getting so mad and they were like saying mean things about him. I was like, don't do that. That's not going to help me get a fight. So finally he gave me an opportunity and, he gave me a fight at a good weight, and like I said, I was ready to take the 155 Palomino fight for his debut, but I didn't know what happened. And then there was a miscommunication, that he said. And, so I was like, okay, well, whatever. But we moved on. I kept trying. He said I would be on the Paige Van Zandt card, and then that date changed, and I got mad again. And, so we both kept our word to each other, and I think that was really cool, and I got, I'm happy with what I got paid and the way they treated me on the whole event, and I'm ready to show out. I'm ready for these big names. If you give me Artem, or you give me one of these guys that these big UFC fighters that think they can box, I'll take them to school.
I cannot wait to see it. I can't wait to see who they match you up with next. And I will hopefully be there live and in person to witness that. John Chalbeck, thank you again for joining me, being my co-host. You're welcome here at Combat Zone anytime. Stay tuned to see what John's journey brings next. John, we'll see you later. Have a good one. And we're getting ready to hop out of here for Combat Zone.
Thanks so much, guys. Stay the course.
Yes, sir. Peace.